Phoenixes, Daniela Langford of ReDesign here, and today we are having story time about the science of intention. Now, I've mentioned this and referenced this study many times before in various videos and blogs, and finally today, I'm going to give you the full rundown that I have compiled for your education and enjoyment. So pause this video, grab your tea or your wine, and settle in for this fantastic tale, which is 100% true. So several years ago, I was made aware of research into plants having feelings, factors that were discovered by a researcher named Cleve Baxter, who had spent 36 years studying biocommunication in plant, animal, and human cells. He referred to these factors as real intent, attunement, and spontaneity. Baxter, who was formerly an interrogation specialist for the CIA, wrote about the defining moment which led him to his real work in his book Primary Perception, if you want to check that out. This moment occurred in February at about 1966 when he decided to monitor his Dracaena plant in his lab with polygraph equipment, which is most notably used to detect spikes in bioresponse in response to stressor, aka the lie detector. Y'all know it. So suddenly he imagined burning the electroded leaf. The same instant the idea entered his mind, the polygraph pen shot to the top of the chart, showing an extreme reaction on the part of the plant. So amazed, he walked over to his secretary's desk to retrieve a set of matches while continuing to think about the possibility that this plant was somehow detecting the force of human intention. So the plant reacted to the idea of being burnt. Crazy, right? So when he returned with the matches, the plant was still showing the same high-level reaction, which would interfere with tracking additional changes on the chart. So Baxter decided to remove the threat by returning the matches to his desk. So at this point, the chart finally displayed a downward trend as the plant apparently began to calm down. So when Baxter attempted to repeat the same result by pretending that he was going to burn the plant, there was no reaction. The plant seemed to sense the difference between real and artificial intent. Crazy! He eventually discovered that plants become attuned to their primary caretakers, responding to both their positive and negative emotions, and to their return, actually, after being away for a long time, so when you come home, like with a pet. The chart findings also showed that plants prioritize the emotions of their primary caregivers over the emotions of other people nearby. That's right. Plants prioritize the emotions of their caretakers over the emotions of everybody else around them. Whoa. Baxter later expanded his research to include testing human cells for signs of consciousness. And this is what ties in so amazingly with that video I recently did on Your Body is Listening. So if you want to check that out. He collected white blood cells, oh hey buddy, from human donors and electroded them in a test tube, and then recorded the cells' reactions as the different donors experienced different emotional states. He found that spontaneous emotions were necessary in order to elicit an electrical reaction in the cells. For instance, if a donor forced him or herself to feel an emotion, the cells just wouldn't respond. However, if she or he received a distressing phone call from their child, the cells shot up significantly. He noted that distance really seemed to be irrelevant for these experiments. For example, a donor left his electroded cells behind in the lab and then kept a detailed log of anything stressful that happened on his trip home, which was in another state, such as missing the turn on the freeway, standing in the airport, and taking off and landing. Later, his logged incidents, compared with the chart recording, showed a very strong correlation between the timing of the stressful event that he actually perceived and the electrical reaction in his cells. The chart became quiet again when he arrived home and went to bed. Super crazy! These experiments were conducted while using equipment that screened out electromagnetic radiation, which is the usual energy used for information transmission. The cells, they behave as if the screens weren't there, suggesting that this communication between cells is carried on by a field that's identified or unrecognized by conventional science. though many scientists now believe that the further development of quantum physics may actually help guide us to understand this field that communicates emotional intent between living things. And quantum entanglement is a huge thing. Quantum entanglement is a process where two particles of matter which have interacted with each other still behave as if they're connected even after being separated. Quantum entanglement, very important. So when energetic change is made to the properties, aka the position, of momentum, or rotation of a particle, the properties of the other distant particle will change at the same time. This phenomenon and the research of Cleve Baxter point to the ancient indigenous concept of oneness, the view that all of nature is interdependent. Ancient cultures understood this interconnection as a living universal energy field that sustains life while guiding the evolution of consciousness throughout the universe. It's all there. The meditation techniques involved in my practice bring the mind in attunement with that field, very much like tuning into a radio station. Energy from this field is then focused into a physical, mental, emotional, or even spiritual healing event through that clear intention, delivered by a means of an inner conversation that evokes that spontaneous emotion and attunes the physical body with the subconscious world. This method enables people to experience the raw, creative, healing ability that's generated by the alliance of the mind and the body within living within this universal field. I have used this science my whole life and never realized it until I was much older. As a child, I talked to nature and pets excessively, and I really just couldn't understand why the adults didn't seem the need to. So all these years later, it took me to get to rock bottom to remember what I had always known. It's all connected, it's all intention, and it's all conscious. So, what do you think about this science and what it means? Post in the comments below. I absolutely encourage you to look into this on your own if this interests you, or even message me. I would be happy to pass along the research links that I have. So thanks, Phoenixes, for joining me on this inaugural episode of Storytime, delving into the science of intention. I am Daniela of ReDesign, sending you lots of love and light, and let's set you free.